today I'm going to be showing you how to use a grid to make really anything you want. I'm sorry if you can hear my dog in the background. He is very comfy and sleepy. Anyway, back on topic. I'm going to be using a grid today to make a bag. It's very easy, and I have gone over how to use a grid before in my heart sweater video, but I kind of want to go over it again because I do feel like I'm much better at making videos than I was at that point. I think that was like my second YouTube video. I'm using this crazy color. It was on clearance. The camera really doesn't know justice. It's like a true neon in person. It's wild. And I'm just gonna be using some black that I have, and I made a skull grid. It's my mom's birthday coming up, and I think that she would enjoy a funky skull crochet shoulder bag. So let's get into it. I don't know. You're gonna need 2 colors of yarn at least if you're following this grid. If you're designing a grid of your own, you're gonna need however many colors you need, you know. And as always, I like to use weight 4 yarn, but you can use any weight, any hook size. Just make sure that you're consistent across the yarns that you're using. Yeah, let's get into it. This is a grid I've made. It's a little skull. This is what I'm going to be using. I have a couple more. I have like a bat, and I can't remember what the other one is right now. But you can see there are 55 rows, 55 columns. I always start in the bottom left corner. So you start here and you work your way row by row. Yeah, it's very simple. You change colors. Every little square is representative of one stitch, and I will have this, I'm sorry, they just came home. My family just came home and I'm very paranoid. I don't like when people walk in on me when I'm recording because it's very embarrassing. Anyway, this will be saved as like a Google Doc or something. I think I can share the Stitchfiddle document itself in the description, so I'll link that in the description. But you can also use Stitchfiddle to design your own grids. There's a free version. I don't use the free version, so I don't really remember what comes with the free version, but there's also a paid version. It's very affordable. I think it's like $3 a year, so it's very worth it, especially if you're going to be using it a lot. I highly recommend it. I use it all the time. I used it, here I'll show you. I used it to make this Bo Burnham blanket, which is, you know, it was as insane as it looks. It took a very long time. But yeah, I mean, you can do anything with it. It's incredible. But yeah, like I said, every little square is 1 stitch. So these first few rows are just 1 color, and then you start changing color at row 6. And I do have another video where I go really in depth into color changes. That'll be in the card, but I'll go over it again in this video quickly. But if you want something more in depth, definitely check that video out. I'm going to be using black and pink. I think the main color, like the background, is going to be black. And then I'll make the skull in that crazy pink color I showed you before. So you can see over here this little progress tracker button in the top left. It's that little like location marker. This, you can use it to go row by row, and it'll highlight the row that you're working on. And then you can use the up and down arrows to move up a row, or you can move back down. It's very convenient. If you would like to print it out, you can print it out and like mark off your rows as you go. You can zoom in and out using the plus or minus buttons. Minus button, plus button to zoom in. You can edit charts. I don't think that when I share the charts, you can edit the ones that I've made, but if you make one, of course you can edit it. Use this little edit button. Change your color, and you can add stitches or whatever. There's an undo button. So yeah, I really recommend Stitchfiddle. It's very cheap, and it's just like an awesome resource if you're looking to get started in like grids or like more complex designs. It's really cool. I super highly recommend it. Like I said, I use it all the time. I used it for that crazy Bo Burnham blanket. I used it for the heart sweater. I am using it now, obviously. It's really fun. It's really cool to use. You know, you can make sweaters, blankets. They have settings for like Tunisian crochet or like corner to corner crochet, which I don't even know how to do. Cross stitch, like they have cross stitch, embroidery. You can use this for knitting, of course. Yeah, it's really cool. I really love it. It's an awesome resource. I kind of have been playing with the idea of making a video of like my favorite crochet tools and resources. So if you would like to see that, please let me know in the comments. I just haven't been sure if that's like something I should spend my time doing or not. Do you want to see that? This Stitchfiddle would be on there for sure. Okay, well, anyway, I'm just gonna get started making the thing. I don't know. Okay, so my grid, here's my grid. This grid is 55 rows by 55 columns. So to start, I'm going to chain 56 and then single crochet into the second chain from my hook and single crochet all the way back. So I should have 55 single crochet stitches in my first row. If you use Stitchfiddle to design your own grid, which I highly encourage, how fun is that? You'll probably have a different number than I do. So yeah, that's just what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna chain 56, single crochet in the second chain from my hook, and then single crochet all the way back. There's my chain of 56. Also, what I've been doing lately is I make my chain with a larger hook than what I do the rest of my stuff with, because I had an issue with like chain something to be 6 inches. I would then single crochet into that chain and it would end up being like 7 or 8 inches, which pissed me off. So I just used a 6mm hook, and I'm switching to a 5mm hook to do my single crochets in. I think it's a tension issue. I've always made my chains really tight, so if you have also been experiencing that, I recommend. I have finished my first row. It is 55 stitches. Count your stitches. If you're like me, you add stitches, remove stitches just in random spots, and you want to make sure that you catch that in the very first row so that you don't realize once you get to your color changes, oh, I have to pull apart the last 5 rows that I just did because I fucked up in the very first one. I've been there. So count your stitches, make sure you're all good. You probably are, and then move on to the next row. For me, the first 5 rows are just solid color, so I'm gonna finish those and then I will meet you back when it comes time to change color, and I will kind of walk you through it the first couple of rows. Doink! I love doing that. Okay, so we've gotten to the part where we change color. For me, that's row 6, 25 stitches in. So I have stitched 24 single crochets in black. You're also gonna want like a front and back to your piece. So for me, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna start the side that's facing me right now when I'm changing color. That's gonna be the front. So that just means you're gonna want, I'll explain what that means. Okay, I'm gonna zoom you in. And I'm so sorry, I always choose to use black, you guys, and I really don't think about it ever. Okay, so like I said, It's so hard to see. I've made 24 stitches. In my 25th stitch, I'm going to, again, I'm working with single crochets here. I'm going to insert my hook, pull up a loop, and I'm not going to finish it. I'm going to take my new color and I'm just gonna throw it on my hook. You can make a slip knot if you would like, but I don't. And I finish it off that way. That way the top of my next stitch is going to be this pink color and it won't confuse me when I am in my next row. So now I have 5 stitches in this new color and I'm going to insert my hook into that next stitch, but I'm also going to insert my hook underneath these tails. The tail for this like coral color. I'm going to go underneath my black yarn so that I pull it through to the next side so that I can just pick it up and continue along the row when I'm done with these 5 stitches. So I'm going to single crochet 5, 1, here's my first stitch, and you can see the top of this stitch is that pink color. And if I had not finished off my last stitch with my new color, the top of that first stitch would have been black. And it, like, 1, makes it just kind of look weird, and 2, for me, makes it very confusing when I'm trying to like figure out what stitch I'm working into the next row. Hopefully that makes sense. So here are 4 stitches, and I have been working on working over and kind of encapsulating this black string into my stitches as I go this whole time. So I'm going to insert my hook underneath all those tails and such, pull up a loop, and since this is my last stitch in that pink color, I am again going to switch to my black and finish with the black color so that my next stitch has the right color top to it. I'm going to continue stitching all the way down because the rest of this row is black. And I'm going to continue stitching and kind of closing in my tail. So again, I just want to remind you, every stitch is a square. Just take your time, count your stitches, pay attention to your grid, and you will be good to go. 21, 22, and then again on this 23rd stitch I'm going to end it with my new color. This is where it becomes a little more important that this is our back side. Okay, so we always want our yarn to be sticking out on the back side. So this is the front, it looks very nice and clean, and this is the back. The yarn's sticking out here. And we do that because we need to finish this off, but there are 2 stitches in between. So this yarn kind of pulls and creates this line here. We just want to make sure that's on the back, that's all. So that it doesn't show through on the front. It just looks a little messy. So again, I'm working over my black yarn, inserting my hook under there. 1, 2 color changes, or no, 1, 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then on my last stitch, my 9th stitch, again I want to make sure that this yarn stays on the back, and I'm going to switch color and finish this stitch off with my black yarn and continue down the row. It looks a little uneven. Trust your grid. I'm trusting my grid. Trust the process. So I'm going to continue. I will meet you back at some point, maybe once I've finished the skull. I think that I have been pretty thorough so far. Just remember to trust your grid and keep track of your front and back sides just so that it looks nice and clean on the front, and any little imperfections are kind of hidden away on the back. I trusted the grid. It looks so cool. I'm very excited. So, just trust the grid. You'll be fine. I mean, you can make anything out of this. You can put it on like a shirt, a sweater. I'm going to be making a bag. So the next step for me in making this bag is I'm going to make a square this size. You can repeat the grid so that it like matches on the back, but I don't want to. So I'm just going to make another 55 stitch by 55 row square, and then I will meet you back here. Don't I look beautiful? Okay, it's a couple days later. I am making these straps now. This is the first one. I need to make another one. This is a strap. You can see I've left a long tail for sewing these on to my bag on each end. So start off with a long tail and end with a long tail. Just like leave some excess yarn at either end. I chained 6, single crocheted in the second chain from my hook, single crochet 5 per row, and I have about 75 rows here. If you would like longer straps, make longer straps, and also be aware if you use a different weight yarn, a different size hook, you know, you're gonna want to use a different number of stitches and rows depending. So I used a weight 4 yarn and a 5mm hook. So I'm gonna make my second strap now. I think that's a pretty straightforward description of what the strap is. I'll make that second strap, and then I will meet you again to go over all the pieces that I have and how to assemble it. I'll see you then. I have my front skull panel, and then I have the back panel, which is the exact same size. It just doesn't have a skull on it. And then I have 2 straps. They're both also the exact same size. So you have 4 pieces. The assembly is very, very simple. What I'm gonna do first is I am going to sew, or you can slip stitch or single crochet these pieces together on the sides and the bottom. So I'm probably going to start up here in this corner, and I'm going to sew down the side, down the bottom, and then up the other side, these 2 panels together, leaving the top open because that's how it's going to be a bag. It needs to be open at the top. Wow. I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually not going to sew it. I think I'm going to slip stitch it. I'm going to do it right side out so that you can see the slip stitch, because I'm going to use this crazy like pink orange color. So like I said, I'm doing this right side out so that you can actually see the stitching. You don't have to do that. You can do it inside out so that the stitching isn't visible. Do it however you want. Just secure those 3 sides. Okay, so I have sewn up the sides and the bottom. You can see pretty clearly the path that I took now. I used slip stitches, and I did not flip my bag inside out because, like I said before, I wanted these stitches to be visible. I just like the way they look. If you do not want these stitches to be invisible, visible. Sew the right sides of your bag together. You know what I'm saying, okay? You know what I'm saying. Now we want to attach our handles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. So what I've done is I have marked the 15th stitch in from the sides on each panel, the front and back. It's gonna be where I attach my strap. It'll be the outside stitch on each side of my strap, if that makes sense. So get my darning needle, thread my yarn, and this time I am going to sew onto the inside. See this outside edge of my strap? I'm just going to sew it right to that stitch that I've marked. And then I'm going to secure each stitch going in. One side of the strap is secure, and now I'm going to secure the other side the same way. Okay, so I hope you can see, but I've attached this the front handle, that's the word, the front strap to the bag, and you can see the outside edges are attached to the marked stitches. Again, if you would like to place your straps somewhere else on the bag, that is totally fine. This is just what I did. You can customize this however you want. So I'm gonna go attach the other one in the exact same spot on the back panel, and I will meet you back when I'm done. Very cool. I love this as like a tote bag. This would also make a really good trick-or-treating bag, you know? It's simple, it's relatively quick. You don't even have to use a grid to make this bag. It's just, you know, a couple of squares, some straps. It's so easy. This grid for the skull is also linked in the description below. I hope you liked this tutorial. I did it a little differently than I usually do, but it's so simple. I don't think I have to like demonstrate how to do single crochets and stuff. If you have any recommendations or requests for future projects, please let me know in the comments below, or you can send me an email. All that information is in the description. If you make this, post it on Instagram and tag me so I can see it. I'd love to see what you guys make. I don't know, I'll see you next time. Later.